Hello, welcome to today's News at Noon on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here.
And I am Kayla King.
Let's get to the top stories we are tracking. ExxonMobil still to explain root cause of flaring. Understanding the draft local content policy part 3. Government proposes progressive increase of Guyanese in management and technical positions. Meanwhile, Ethnic Relations Commission needs to be audited, says the commissioner. It received over $900 million in budgetary allocations in past 7 years. Meanwhile, $413 million Legwan Stelling rehabilitation contract terminated, project to be retendered. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Introducing the new Digital Prime bundles. Better than anything we've ever offered before. More music on D-Music. More messaging on BIP. More radio streaming on Go Loud. More storage on Bello. More control on My Digital app. With the new Digital Prime bundles, it's never been easier to get more digital experiences. Plus, extra data. Get 30 gigabytes with a 7-day Prime bundle for only $2,000. So much data, so much fun. Buy in My Digital app today. Digital, better together.
And now for the news in detail. Today makes 3 days since we asked ExxonMobil to clearly define the cause of flaring at the Liza Destiny oil vessel. We asked whether the vibration of a rotor was linked to the previous issue ExxonMobil encountered, which caused it to flare all year 2020, or whether it was linked to a design flaw, improper maintenance, or some other cause. This was asked to ensure that there wouldn't be a related reoccurrence in Liza Phase 1 or any of ExxonMobil's future developments. ExxonMobil was also asked to provide a timeline for the repairs on the compressor. Up to press time last night, there was no definitive answer.
Meanwhile, the government has proposed in the draft local content policy that there be a sliding scale of targets for oil companies. This is to ensure maximum participation of Guyanese in the oil and gas industry.
And now let's tell you, ERC Commissioner Haji Roshan Khan has yet again come to the fore to speak against alleged mismanagement occurring with state funds. Khan is of the firm conviction that an audit is needed to expose key areas where significant value leakage is taking place. Khan reiterated that there is unjust spending within the Commission. Expounding further, Khan noted that there was the extravagant granting of Christmas bonuses within the ERC. He claimed that commissioners had attempted to grant themselves $200,000 as a Christmas bonus, but settled on $150,000, which still went against the government's advisory of $25,000 per person in statutory bodies.
And now let's tell you the government yesterday terminated the 2-year-old $413 million Legwan Stelling rehabilitation project after the contractor S. Mirage Contracting Services failed to comply with his contractual obligations. The Ministry of Public Works indicated that yesterday, the Minister of Public Works, Juan Edge Hill, met with the contractor along with a team from the Transport and Harbors Department. Following an 11-hour deliberation, which was guided by a report compiled by the Audit Office of Guyana, the team determined that the contractor S. Mirage Contracting Services, and I quote, is incapable, unable, and does not possess the withdrawal to successfully execute this project, valued at $413.2 million.
It is now 12 hours for coming up after the break. With over 150 years experience, GNIC ready to be leading contributor to fabrication works for oil industry. Businessmen shot and robbed at Eccles traffic light. Exxon subsidiary yet to produce evidence that parent company will pick up oil disaster costs. And Guyana's Suriname ferry service to resume tomorrow. Passengers must have negative COVID-19 test result taken 72 hours before travel. Do stay tuned.
Welcome back. Let's continue with the news. With over 150 years of experience in shipbuilding and repair and maintenance of vessels, the Guyana National Industrial Company Incorporated, formerly known as GNEC, remains one of the most significant contributors to the upkeep of the nation's maritime industry, along with the services and manufacturing sectors. In fact, the company has been a staunch advocate for not only maintaining a high level of performance, but ensuring that as the oil and gas industry blossoms, more Guyanese are given an opportunity to play a leading role in their respective areas of expertise.
And moving on, a businessman was on Thursday night shot and robbed when he stopped at the traffic light at Eccles on the east bank of Demerara. The man has been identified as 36-year-old Nand Kumar Bahadur. A police report noted that around 18 hours, Bahadur and his porter were heading home but were forced to stop momentarily in the thick of the traffic at the Eccles public road due to a red light. Two unidentifiable males armed with a gun rode up beside his motor vehicle, and the pillion rider then pointed a gun at Bahadur and demanded that he handed over his money. Before Bahadur handed over a haversack with $500,000 in it, the bandit discharged a round which struck him to his thigh. The bandits then made good their escape.
In other news, it has been over a year since Esso failed to provide Ghana with a formal agreement, which states that its parent company ExxonMobil would accept liability should any oil disaster occur in the Stabroek block. It has also failed to provide similar proof of agreement from the parent companies of Hess Guyana Exploration Limited and CNOOC or Nexen Petroleum Guyana Limited, the two other partners on the Stabroek concession. The fact that so much time has elapsed without this formal guarantee sets a worrying trend for Guyana's future, so said Dr. Vincent Adams, former head of the EPA.
And now let's tell you, the Ministry of Public Works announced the resumption of the Guyana-Mollison Creek Quarantine and the Suriname South Drain Ferry service on Thursday, which will take effect from tomorrow. In its statement, the ministry said that the ferry will depart Guyana at approximately 9 a.m. and check-ins will be conducted between 6:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. tomorrow. The vessel will return to Guyana by 1 p.m. The ministry said that the ferry service will operate every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday until further notice, and due to serious health concerns, only Guyanese and Surinamis will be allowed to utilize the service.
Meanwhile, the government of Guyana has signed an exemption order to expedite the licensing process for small internet providers in keeping with its effort to expand the telecommunications sector. This would provide access to internet services to more persons in communities across the country who were not able to connect previously from a range of operators. Zoning in on hinterland telecommunications connectivity, Prime Minister Phillips said the government is aiming to connect 200 hinterland communities in 2021. He said a significant sum of money was allocated to make this a reality.
It is now 12 hours 8. Up next is your COVID-19 update. The number of worldwide coronavirus cases has reached 111.3 million, with deaths at 2.4 million and recovery cases at 86.2 million.
The Ministry of Health reported 90 new COVID-19 infections yesterday, which increases the case total to 8,357. 9 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU, 12 in institutional quarantine, 42 in institutional isolation, and 463 in home isolation. Additionally, a total of 7,654 persons have recovered to date, with 11 new recoveries recorded yesterday. The COVID-19 death toll remains at 189 deaths.
And coming from CNN, health experts have said that the data so far has shown that COVID-19 vaccines prevent symptoms of the virus. But a new study suggests that the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines may also prevent infections. And from Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warned Canadians that public health measures, including restrictions on indoor social gatherings, would have to continue for weeks to come as new COVID-19 variants and a slow vaccine rollout risk causing a dangerous third wave of the virus. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I am Kevin Smith.
And I am Kayla King.
Thank you
for listening.
With the time moving on to 12 hours 10 in today's Kaieteur newspaper, page 7, dedicated to bluntness. ExxonMobil starts increasing production above the nameplate capacity of its operation offshore Guyana. It experiences at least 2 equipment malfunctions. This is a no-brainer, but the company insists there is no link between the two. How stupid does Exxon think the Guyanese people are?
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds